That must mean I'm supposed to begin the service. For those of you online, a hush fell over the assembled. We begin on page 10 of our prayer books. Words of welcome, Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good and sweet it is for us all to be together. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Take a moment to turn to the people around you and introduce yourself so that we all might participate in these services as one community. Shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shabbat Shalom to everybody. What a beautiful, beautiful day it has been all throughout the Chicagoland area, and thus it must be an especially beautiful Shabbat as well. We are delighted to join together this evening, and we are particularly delighted to be celebrating the bat mitzvah of Isa Adams tomorrow here in this sanctuary. Isa has worked very, very hard on her Torah portion, and I must say, having seen that process happen from start to finish, has done an exemplary job. So to honor her and her family, we invite forward Isa as well as her father, Aaron, and her brother Ari to light our Shabbat candles this evening. And while they're coming up to light our candles, you can turn in your prayer books to page 2. We sing together on page 2. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We turn together to page 10. What a beautiful day today is. We've said that already, but we haven't said it in Hebrew. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. We sing together the second set of words down on page 10. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafe hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafe hayom. Shabbat Shalom. We turn together to page 24. These traditional words to help us welcome in Shabbat. We sing together Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 20. With these words of Lecha Dodi, we officially welcome Shabbat into our midst. We'll sing together the refrain at the top of page 20, as well as verses 1, 2, and 9. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Mekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Mekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, Yishmi'anu el hamiyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'nitchila. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Mekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Mekabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor haberacha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tehila. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Mekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Mekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha uv'tzola. Toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala, Eli Shabbat Nekabela. If you are feeling comfortable and able, I invite you to rise as we turn together to page 28 in our prayer books, offering these words, our call to worship together, the words of the Baruch Hu. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. You may be seated. We turn together to page 33. Let's read together at the top of the page. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. We turn to page 34 and offer this, our prayer of oneness, the words of Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto leolam va'ed. I am honored to invite Isa back up to the bima with me to help lead us in the chanting of the continuation of those words, the Ve'ahavta, found on page 36. We chant together.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'elech asher anochi mitzaveha hayom alevavecha Vishinantav levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha bevetecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shokvecha uv'kumecha, ukshartam leot al yedeha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, leman tizkeru, v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yatem kedoshim lelolehem. Ani Adonai Elohehem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohehem.
Page 39. Standing together on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together, and singing on page 40, the Song of Freedom. We sing together these words of Mi Chamocha. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot sefele. Nora tehilot sefele. Malchutecha ra'u banecha. Mokei hayam livnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze'elianu ve'ameru. Ze'elianu ve'ameru. Adonai yimloch le'olam le'olam ba'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam le'olam va'ed. Page 42. We ask that a shelter of peace be spread over all of us with the words of the Hashkivenu prayer. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Page 44. Keep and remember, these are the commandments that we are given that we may observe Shabbat, and we recall these commandments by singing together the Shamru. Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. I invite you once more, if you feel comfortable and able, to rise and turn to page 46. We chant together in the middle of the page. Adonai, sefatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 48. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'koneh ha'kol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, מביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. Page 50. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. Page 52. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, Ha'el HaKadosh. You may be seated. Page 60. Many of us probably have melodies or perhaps even words that we associate with Shabbat, that even when the word Shabbat is mentioned, these are the sounds that pop into your ears. The melody by Cantor Jeff Klepper and Rabbi Dan Freelander of Shalom Rav is that for me. We sing together on page 60. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim leolam. Page 253. We take a moment now to think of all of our loved ones, our friends and neighbors, people we know through friends whom are in pain, of body, of mind, or of spirit. If there's anyone in particular that you are thinking of this evening, I'll invite you in just a moment to share their name out loud. And for those of you joining us online, please feel free to leave those names in our chat. We offer these words of healing, these prayers for well-being, the words of Misha Berach in the middle of the page 253. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We pause now for silent reflection and meditation, the prayers of your own hearts and minds. We'll join back together in just a few moments on page 62. On page 62, 4 lines down from the top of the page, Petach libi b'toratecha, uvmitzvotecha tirdof nafshi. Open my heart to your Torah, that I may pursue your mitzvot. Petach libi b'toratecha, Petach libi b'toratecha, uvmitzvotecha, uvmitzvotecha, tirdof, tirdof nafshi, hasel ma'at shemecha, hasel ma'at yeminecha, hasel ma'at kedushatecha, hasel ma'at toratecha. Towards the bottom of the page, the words of Yiyu Leratzon. Yiyu Leratzon, Imrefi Vegyon, Adonai, Tzuri Goali, Asel Ma'at Shemecha, Asel Ma'at Yeminecha, Asel Ma'at Kedushatecha, Asel Ma'at Toratecha. I want to invite everyone, if you feel like it, not a requirement, to turn back to page 30 in your prayer books. I'll give you a moment to make it there. This is the section of the worship service that's referred to as the Shema and its blessings. And in this section of the service, the liturgy leads us through a dramatic narrative, a condensed version from the beginning of time and space all the way to the arrival at the foot of Mount Sinai and beyond. On page 30, we have the prayer Ma'ariv Aravim, where we give thanks for the separation and the rolling away of light from darkness and then back again, which recalls one of the very first acts of creation. If you turn to page 32, we have the prayer Ahavat Olam, in which we give thanks to Adonai for the gift of Torah, just as our ancestors did when they once stood as one community at the foot of Mount Sinai. And in the passages following the Shema, which Isa chanted some of for us so beautifully, we establish once more that in following the mitzvot, in the commandments laid out in Torah, that God's covenant with us will be made good and that we will be redeemed, forever led out of Egypt, out of the narrow place, into salvation. This past Wednesday was the holiday of Shavuot, in which we commemorate that moment of revelation, the moment that our ancestors received God's greatest gift to us, the Torah. Fastidious scholarship of ancient Israelite practices is very clear. In the earliest days of the Jewish people, the rabbis were aware of and transmitting a written Torah and an oral Torah. The oral Torah, as the name describes, was transmitted exclusively verbally. It was a supplementary collection of wisdom teachings that would aid in interpretation of written Torah. No record of the oral Torah exists, but it is thought that the oral tradition is now represented to one extent or another in rabbinic literature, that is Mishnah and Gemara and Talmud. It is taught that oral Torah was given to Moses simultaneously alongside written Torah, and that Moses passed the oral Torah on to Joshua, and so on and so forth. Some rabbinic sources emphasize the idea that the oral Torah was carefully, meticulously memorized by each inheritor, and thus successfully passed down from generation to generation in exactly the same form as it had been delivered by God to Moses. We will need the Guinness Book of World Records to confirm this for us, but I imagine that would qualify as the world history's most successful game of telephone. Other rabbinic sources emphasize that the oral Torah was a dynamic document, and that the interpretations one might derive or hidden meanings that one might discover were totally dependent on the individual who was delivering the text, the context of the surrounding lessons of the day, the biases and predispositions of the students receiving the oral Torah. To accept the dynamism of oral Torah is to accept the idea that it was constantly changing. It also asks us to be very comfortable with the idea that two different teachers, assuming their pedigree is strong enough that they may both be trusted as authority figures, may deliver two entirely different truths, two entirely different interpretations. It is suggested, in fact, that oral Torah did not originate at Sinai per se, but was instead something that was derived from vigorous engagement with and study of the written Torah. A parable is told of a king who calls two treasured advisors to his side and gifts them both flour and a bolt of cloth from the king's personal stores. The first advisor, honored, sets the gifts in a special spot in his home and thinks no more of them. The second advisor turns the flour into bread and the bolt of cloth into a beautiful quilt. When the king calls them both back and asks that the gifts be returned, he finds special favor with the second advisor, who realized what the flour and the cloth could become. It is in this parable that we can understand the idea of oral Torah a little better, I think. Written Torah is not something merely to be read. That would be besides the point. It is something to be engaged with, wrestled with, spoken about, discussed, argued. And it is by that process of engagement with written Torah that oral Torah emerges and can therefore be passed down from generation to generation. I've brought a piece of sheet music, which is very far away from you all, but perhaps you can see some of it, and perhaps you've once or twice before in your life at least seen sheet music before. Right now, this piece of music is in its potential form. I have most of the information I need in order to perform this music for you. I have the notes, I have the key signatures, the words, some markings that tell me when to repeat certain sections, some markings that tell me when to be louder or softer. What I don't have, though, are instructions on which syllables to specially emphasize, which eighth notes are meant to be caressed and which lambasted, the moments in which I might choose to take an extra beat, having felt out the ambiance of the specific room I'm playing in, and for the specific people listening. Here, too, we can understand oral Torah. Music in all of its forms is reliant on the performer in order to be fully realized. Music definitionally does not exist solely on a page. It requires an interpreter. Two people may perform the same piece of music from the exact same piece of paper, but with wildly different interpretations. And so on this Shabbat, as we recede from Sinai's foot, may we all understand, or at least wrestle with, the idea that it is not enough to merely receive Torah, that we must actively engage with Torah together in order that the great gift may be fully realized. Shabbat Shalom. We conclude our service, or begin to conclude our service this evening, by turning together to page 282. I invite you once more, if you are comfortable and able, to rise as we chant together the words of Aleinu L'Shabeach. Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, Lateit Gedula Leotzer Breshit, Shehu Notei Shamayim Ve'osed Aretz, Umoshav Yikaro B'Shamayim Mima'ol, Ushchinatu Zo Begovei Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Einod, Vanachnu Korim, Umishtachavim Modim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 287. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We remain standing and turn together to page 293. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we recall the names of those who have passed in these last 30 days and are still in the period of Shloshim: Eva Farr, Leonard Weiskirk, Harvey Rich, Yefim Slobodkin, and those whose anniversary of death, their yahrzeit, occurs on this Shabbat: Joseph Alban, Ronald Kushner, Bert Catton, Joseph Zizuk, Michael Friedman, Mordechai Mitya Kalai, Wolf Levitt, Bronislav Pavlovich Ben Nedvetsky, Sandra Sunak, Estelle Kaminsky, Robert A. Cohen, Sanford Carl Ketcher, Saul Bly, Edwin Masters, Florence Meisenberg, Irving Shapiro, Babette Rice, David Montag, John Rice. Other names you wish to share? May their memories be for an eternal blessing. We turn to page 294 and recite together in one voice the words of Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, alma divrach irute ve'amlich malchute, b'chayachon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mivarach le'olam la'mei almaya. Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'itpa'ar v'itramam v'itnaseh, v'itadar v'italev v'ithalal, shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Please be seated. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen. Just two small heads up to give you before we begin to conclude services this evening. Next Friday is the first of the Shabbatot, which we are referring to as a special series called Shabbat Around the Table. These are going to be special experiences outside of our sanctuary, things that the clergy team and I have developed in order to experience Shabbat slightly differently over the summer. And each of us are leading one of those experiences. Next Friday, June 21st, Rabbi Tickbrill will be leading a challah-braiding experience. So we will be meeting here at the building at 6 p.m., and you'll just be experiencing Shabbat slightly differently than our usual minhag. If you would like to switch your Kaddish name, your Yahrzeit name, to a date in which we will be back here in the sanctuary as opposed to up in our social hall doing challah braiding, please just email our executive director, Andy Schultz, or Scott Nelson, and they'll be happy to move that name to a date that's preferable for you. Then 2 weeks from now, June 28th, is our Pride Month Shabbat, which we are particularly excited for. We will be in the garden of the First Presbyterian Church. That is just across the street, essentially, from this building, so don't have to travel very far. 6 p.m. service, and our own executive director, Scott Nelson, will be delivering the remarks that evening. So we're very excited to hear from him and to celebrate Pride Month together. Be sure, as you've heard all these details come through, just as a general note, make sure that you're checking weekly happenings, the Friday reminder, our calendar, so that you can get the proper timing and the proper location for services. We are a little all over the place this summer. I want to invite up one final time this evening, again, in anticipation of what I'm sure will be a job extremely well done, Isa Adams, as well as her brother Ari, to help lead us in Kiddush and Motzi for the evening. Who's holding the Kiddush cup? You'll do it? All right, Ari, that means you want to cover the challah. Okay, thanks. No, 1 second. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Take a sip.
Is it wine?
It's grape juice. All right, you can uncover the challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Once again, Mazel Tov to the Adams family. Shabbat Shalom to you all. It was lovely to be together. We'll move out into the foyer in just a moment for Oneg Shabbat, but first, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Shabbat Shalom. You guys get first challah. Thank you both. Appreciate it very much. Are you okay, please? I'll take it. Uh-oh. What did you say?
No, he's touching them all.
Thank you both. We'll see you tomorrow morning, okay? Well, actually, I'll see you out there.